The Boy Who Had a Dream. There was once a boy named Haidar Ali Jan, whose tutor was a wise old dervish. His father sent him every day to the house of the dervish, who knew almost everything. But all the dervish would teach Haidar was, when you have a dream and remember it when you wake up, never tell it until someone says, "May you live forever." When the dervish had been teaching him for some time, Haidar's father said, "Is the wise one instructing you in many sciences?" "No," said Haidar. "He is repeating only a single lesson about dreams." "About dreams, indeed," said his father. He stopped the boy going to any more lessons. He went to see the dervish and said, "Why have you wasted my money and my son's time teaching him only one thing, and that about dreams of all things?" The dervish said, "I teach every student what he needs in his life, preparing him for the most important experience which is to befall him." But the father was not satisfied. The explanation made no sense to him. "You are as bad as the charlatans who pretend that a single exercise, if persevered in, can be applied to all men," he said. "Only you are slightly more sophisticated." Not long after this, Haidar had a dream. The next morning he told his mother. She asked him what kind of dream it had been, but since she had not first said, "May you live forever," the boy could not tell her. She became quite angry and sent him to his father. "What do you want?" asked his father. "Last night I had a dream," said Haidar, "and when I mentioned it to my mother, she got angry and sent me to you." "What was the dream?" said the father. Because he did not say, "May you live forever," Haidar said, "I cannot tell you what my dream was." So his father became angry with him and said, "You know the tree at the crossroads where nobody ever passes. You shall go and sit in the branches of that tree as a punishment for refusing to answer a question." Haidar set off and climbed the tree. He had not been sitting there long when two travelers stopped in the shade to share a meal. One said to the other, "The king has sent for me to answer a conundrum. I cannot understand it, but I dare not refuse to appear at court. If only the earth would open and receive me so that I might disappear from the sight of men. If only someone could be sent from above who could answer this question so that I need not." The other traveller said, "What is this insoluble riddle?" "The riddle," said the first traveller, "is this. There are two pieces of wood, and the king, for some purpose of his own, wants to know which of them is made from the root of a tree and which from a bough." Haidar jumped down from his branch and said, "Take me to the king." "You may have been sent from above," said the astonished traveller, "so I shall take you with me." When they arrived at the gates of the king's capital, Haidar said to his companions, "Buy a goat, a donkey, and a camel." At the entrance to the palace, the three were stopped. "We can only let the first traveller in, for he alone has an invitation from the king." The first traveller entered, and he said to the king, "I cannot answer your question, sire, without my companions." The king said, "If they can satisfy the Rais-e-Tashrifat, the chief of ceremonials, let them be brought." The scholars, who had been unable to answer the king's question about the pieces of wood, feared that these newcomers might provide the solution. They said to the Rais-e-Tashrifat, "Here are some questions for the visitors. If they cannot answer, you can exclude them from the court on the pretext that they lack the necessary finesse." The Rais called Haidar and the other traveller, who came forward leading their animals. He said, "You are not big enough to know how to answer a question." Haidar said, "The camel, who is as of our party, is big enough. The camel was large enough for the Prophet." The Rais said, You have no beard. How can you know anything? Haidar said, The goat has a beard if beards are needed. The rice said, You are not a man. Haidar said, If a man is needed, here is one, and he pointed to his companion. The rice said, How can you bear the weight of the responsibility of knowledge, you puny weakling? Haidar said, Here is another member of our group, a donkey. An ass was fit for the responsibility of carrying Jesus. People were laughing, and the rice did not want to appear more foolish, so, muttering, Let the pedants look to their own worries, he led Haidar through to the audience hall. When he arrived before the throne, Haidar said, Where is the wood? 2 sticks were brought, and Haidar called for a bowl of water. He threw the wood in. 1 stick floated. That is from the branch, said Haidar. The other sank. Haidar said, And that is from the root. The king was amazed, for Haidar had divined the roots correctly. He said to Haidar, How did you come upon such an art? It has been prophesied that the man who can tell 1 stick from another will become my prime minister and save our community from peril. Haidar said, Glorious Majesty, I had a dream. May you live forever, said the king. And what was the dream? The dream, said Haidar, was that I was called upon to discover which stick was from a root and which from a branch, and that I solved the problem in the manner which you have just seen.